Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and today we are going to be reviewing. Actually, no, not reviewing. We're going to be doing a ranking of our top 110 One Piece arcs since we didn't have a chapter last week. I'm Akainu Fanboy. The other guy is Gboss. Please like and subscribe if you have not. Give us thoughts on our rankings, and also give your top 10 rankings below. We'd love to hear from you guys. So, started off for me. Number 10 would be Alabasta. I think it's all well around balance. We get to see the Void Century for the first time. Crocodile's an amazing villain. We have a lot of great one-on-ones when it comes to the Straw Hats and everything like that too. And we get to see like Usopp and Chopper do like a tag team basically, and then they get to defeat Mr. Four. So that's really awesome. And we just kind of take for granted that Usopp and Chopper used to actually have fights. Stakes are high, and it's just a great conclusion to a saga. And then we get to see Smoker seeing the corruption of the world government, and the great utilization of Smoker, and we get to have Ace incorporated to the story too. So like it a lot. So just a great, well balanced arc for my number 10 spot.
Yeah. I mean, I have Alabasta a bit farther up on mine. But that might be my nostalgia. But yeah, I feel like the whole thing with Crocodile fighting Luffy, it didn't rely really on hockey.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot more creativity with Luffy having to find a way with the water and his blood to fight Crocodile and everything. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I love Crocodile as a character. It's great to see him there. Um, but yeah, it's a bit higher on my list, but I can talk about it a little bit more when I get there. But but my
Okay, what's your 10?
yeah my number 10 is one that I don't think that you're gonna have on yours. It's Thriller Bark.
Goaded. I know it almost made it my top 10 though.
Yeah, because um I don't know, with Thriller Bark I feel like as an anime watcher people undervalue it because it's paced horrendously in the anime. Um, but reading it as like the 4 volumes that it does a lot in a short time. Like you have the Ryuma versus Zoro fight, you have Usopp versus Perona, you have the whole Kuma section. Um, with him, Zoro's Nothing Happened, which I debate is one of the last times that Zoro was actually cool. Not actually cool, but like I resonated with that moment a lot compared to like,
And Sanji had a good moment with it too.
oh
I
yeah,
want to throw that out
like
there.
him offering to sacrifice himself too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I love the tag team fight with the Straw Hats versus Oars and everything. I feel like that's underappreciated as well. But it in my heart, it's like at number 7. But I think the other arcs are above it, are better written. But
Gotcha. Yeah.
but yeah.
All
So
right. So my number 9 is gonna be Arlong Park. So again, well balanced arc. Really good. Arlong, great villain. I love Luffy versus Arlong. I love Sanji's fight as well. Usopp's fight was phenomenal. Again, he actually got a fight. We get to see the crew actually acting as a cohesive unit, and we um, get to see Sanji bringing I was sorry see Luffy really act as the captain,
mhm.
and like for the first time bringing everybody together. Nami's character comes full circle. She has a great backstory, and it is like the great culmination of the East Blue Saga too. So I really
Mhm.
enjoyed a lot of it too.
Yeah, I feel it's probably my number 11, if I were to rank it. But I feel that Arlong Park, if you're not on board with One Piece by Arlong Park, it's not the series for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
For sure.
but yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. Um, Sanji's fight is goaded. I like Zoro's fight with Hachi and everything. Um, and like there's a lot that's actually set up in this arc. Like Hachi uh, relating to Fishman Island and everything. You get the first name drop of Jinbei. Arlong's whole backstory is fleshed out
Marine
later.
corruption.
Yeah. Um, and plus Nami's scene with her stabbing her arm is just and asking for help is iconic. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot to like about
And the Moo Moo
Arlong.
sea creature.
Oh yeah, can't forget him. I mean,
Yes.
he even shows up later with Fishman Island.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
that was great. So okay, what's your 9?
My 9 is the most recent arc, which is Egghead.
It's
Uh,
crazy that it's that low, but anyway, yeah, continue. Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
I I think we talked about this a little bit that I think you would have it a bit higher. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, I like a lot of the things that happen with Egghead. Um, one of the things that I don't think that people talk about a lot is the whole thing with like the devil fruits being like the wishes and dreams of people, and I want to see how that's expanded more in the future. Um,
Yeah.
that part's like fascinating to me, but yeah, like Kuma's flashback, um, the elders get to reveal what they're all about. Um, it made me care a lot about Jewelry Bonnie as a character. uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
And
eh,
Kuma.
yeah, um, yeah, and just like the ramifications for the world and everything, like Vegapunk's message explaining everything. And we kind of now know like where the end game's possibly going to be. Um, oh, also Kizaru, and his whole character in this was
Wazaru.
yeah was awesome. I mean, um, another thing that I really like, I know that you have a lot to say about it too, but um, I like that we focused a lot on past characters without introducing too much and giving the past characters time to shine. Because before Egghead, honestly, I was not that big of a fan of Rob Lucci, but I feel um, after Egghead, I like him a lot more. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, do you want to save your thoughts for your rank for when
Yeah,
you rank it?
I'll say yeah.
Okay,
It'll be yeah, a
okay,
lot. Yeah.
okay. So what's your number 8?
Number eight's gonna be Impel Down. So the stakes are high because he's rescuing his brother. So we're not sure how this is gonna turn out. We get to see Buggy, Mr. 3, Mr. 1, Crocodile, Jinbei, and then Blackbeard comes in, and then he gets one shot by Magellan. Um, and then it just leads into like so much crazier stuff after that too. So, and I think it's a great growing arc for Luffy
Mm-hmm.
too. You know,
Yeah.
just like suffering and getting tortured by the poison. You know,
Mm-hmm. I have mine higher on my list,
gotcha.
but yeah, I think it's a great arc. Um, but yeah, so you ready for my number 8?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so my number 8 is Dressrosa.
Ooh, whoa.
Yeah. So I know not a lot of people like Dressrosa. I think also because of the anime.
Over Egghead, really?
I just like a lot of the stuff. It fires the neurons in my brain better
Okay,
than
but
Egghead.
okay, I don't mean to be a jerk, but I'm not going to push back super hard. But you have to admit the variety is objectively better in Egghead than it is.
It is, but Dressrosa has the whole like I would say the Doflamingo is up there as one of the if not the best villain in One Piece. Just straight up villainy.
No, I agree. He's up there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and we get Law's flashback and everything. Um, I I I know we complain a lot about like Wano and everything, but I think that with Dressrosa, you had so many different locales in one area that you could keep track of. Like you have the whole thing with the Tontadas on Greenbit. You have the underground factory. You have the Coliseum, um,
Mm-hmm.
and everything. Um, I feel that if not for the anime, it would be getting a lot better reputation. um, because
Yeah, I
they
agree.
dragged that out. But
And that's how I got introduced to it was like through that experience, and that arc made me start reading the manga because I was anime only up to that point.
yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Rebecca or anything, but
No.
but I I I actually I liked the Coliseum fights. I liked um Frankie's like fight with Senor Pink. We get to see Gear Forth for the first time.
Yeah. I really like the Don Chinchou Luffy fight too,
Yeah,
and Cavendish's awakening, and I love Sai as a character too.
yeah,
And but I do agree that Law is probably one of the best flashbacks in the story, and I love Risanante, and he's one of my favorite characters. So that's why I was kind of debating to put this near the top 10 for
yeah,
me. You know.
yeah. Like once you like forget about the pacing of the anime and everything and look at what's in the arc, I feel
Hmm.
that like a lot of people would say, "Oh, that's actually pretty good." Plus, you get like Pika's whole thing with his laugh. I feel like that's an underrated bit, or not his laugh, his voice, and Luffy just
Yeah,
laughing
yeah,
at
yeah,
it. You get
yeah,
you
yeah.
get like Usopp's big moment with his hockey and everything. Um,
Yeah. The last Usopp feat.
yeah, honestly. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I just really like this. Plus, we
Oh,
get the
and
introduction of the Grand Fleet.
Fujitora.
Exactly. I was gonna bring that up next.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
the
yeah.
introduction of the Grand Fleet and Fujitora's whole thing at the end and what he does during the return of Sabo, um, with Ace's fruit and everything. I think there's a lot in Dressrosa to like.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the more you talk, I think I would put that as either my. I think I'd bump off Alabasta to put it on my number 10. Actually, the more we're talking right now,
Okay, you want
maybe even up, maybe up to my number 9. Yeah,
okay. See,
yeah,
there's a lot in there to like. Um, but yeah,
yeah,
once we're done talking, we can do a final ranking.
yeah. That's fair. That's fair. No, I think you convinced me a lot on all those points. Okay.
Yeah,
Um.
but
All right. My
yeah,
next one.
yeah. You're
Okay,
number
that's
7.
7. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Baratier.
Okay, I the Sanji stand in you cannot resist Baratier.
No. Oh, hell no. I mean, so no. Okay. So it's okay. I just love. I think Sanji is one of the best initial flashbacks and second half flashbacks in the story. Um,
Mhm.
I love Zeph. Um, as a character, I love this idea of Sanji being introduced to the story, and Luffy loves to eat, and Luffy, like, we see this first, and then we get it reintroduced later with Whole Cake more profoundly, but he just loves how he's a good person, and he feeds people, and I did like the interaction he had with Jin later on. Sorry, Gin, yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
and Don Krieg was like the complete antithesis to it, and to like how Zeph would treat his people. Um, and we get to see the introduction of Mihawk as well in the Warlord system, Zoro having his fight, and then he has a phenomenal character moment too with his honor and things like that too. And it was just a great moment for Zoro as well.
Mhm.
Um, so Luffy gets to see like his first right hand man get destroyed, and he gets to see the honor that's in play there with Mihawk, the strongest swordsman in the world, and then he gets to see like how uh, Don Krieg treats his crew too, and I think it's like a great character moment for him. And then he gets brought into this new challenge of Nami stealing the boat and everything like that too. So, and like I said, I just like freaking love Sanji's flashback,
Mhm.
just starving to death and Zeph not eating anything, and it's just a great twist at the end, and it it's just like one of the best in the series. It's just
Yeah.
simple to the point, but it's just so good. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, so that was great. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I do agree that Baratier is really good. It's within my top 15. But yeah, I really like Zoro and Mihawk's thing. Like it establishes a lot because like um you kind of get like what the Grand Line's all about because you see Don Krieg fleeing from it, going back to the East Blue, like with his crew in tatters and everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and Sanji gets introduced. His flashback's amazing. I feel like the fight between Krieg and Luffy is underrated because uh not many people like Don Krieg, but I kind of like him just because he. I think this is the first fight that Luffy's kind of pushed to his limit at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and he gets like almost killed. Like I want to say like Baratier and Arlong Park are like one of the few times that like drowning is like a reality for Luffy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I also love the whole concept of the sea restaurant, um,
Yeah.
and why Zeph built it and everything.
And
Um,
Sanji saves Luffy, like Zeph saves Sanji too, which is
mhm,
a great callback. As well too. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but speaking speaking of Sanji, my number 7 is Whole Cake.
That's yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Respectable.
yeah. Um, I just really like the setting of Whole Cake. You know, the whole
Mhm.
thing based on like all this food and everything. We get Big Mom, um, who I know not a lot of people like her. I like her a lot more than Kaido in terms of like
I
personality.
I agree.
Um, Also, I feel like I'm gonna be jumping all over the place here, but I feel like the whole ending of this arc is kind of let down. But in the moment, it's like one of the most tense things because like you're infiltrating a warlord, not warlord, an emperor's territory and trying to get out of there. Um,
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's tense. Like I feel like the whole twist and turns of like putting in her relationship with Sanji and everything um, throws you for a loop. Um,
Hmm.
and I like the Katakuri fight with Luffy. Um, and especially, I think, yeah, I think my favorite moment is the whole Jinbei thing uh, when he relinquishes his place with Big Mom's crew, to join up with Luffy. Um, but um, I also really like Sanji's second flashback and um, his whole the relationship between Luffy and Sanji that was developed in this arc.
Yeah.
Um, I would say my second favorite moment is when Sanji comes back and feeds Luffy because we just see Luffy
Hmm.
like completely like worn out and everything, and he comes
Hmm.
back with
Hmm.
the food. Um, but yeah, I really like the arc.
So my response will
Yeah,
be my number six.
yeah, which
Which
is
is
whole
whole cake.
cake. Yeah,
So there you go. Okay. I agree with everything you say. All right. Yeah, it's tense. You're going into it. I mean, the stupid forest, like that was annoying. Like for
hmm,
sure, like especially in the anime and everything like that too. But I did like Cracker versus Luffy, and everything like that too.
hmm,
Um, Absolutely love Sanji's flashback, getting bullied, and it's perfectly organically grows off of his original backstory, and I like how he's tortured.
hmm,
I think it's beautiful when Reiju says, run, like you'll find someone that like loves you one day, and then simultaneously it's flashing back to the present where he's getting the shit kicked out of him. You get to see him defend Cassette from Niji and Yonji, and he eats the food off the ground,
hmm,
and you really get to value his positive characteristics. But then obviously, he ends up going through with everything. And I really like Sanji versus Luffy because, and I know that you have idiots that talk to him like, oh, that's terrible that he did that and this and that. But it's like, well, one, yeah, he's not a perfect character. That's the point of Sanji. Like he has shortcomings,
hmm,
and realistically, but at the same time, the only way they got out of there was through the help of the Vin Smokes, and that was through Sanji's goodness and not leaving them behind. Because they wouldn't have gotten out of there without the Vin Smokes because they helped them out on two different occasions. And I
yeah,
think people are just too stupid to understand that. But I love Capone was like phenomenal and everything
oh
like that
yeah,
too. Uh, Capone was so good in this arc,
Big
right? It's
Papa.
so good. Yes, um, and just like when Luffy says, "I can't become the Pirate King without you, and I won't eat
Yeah,
until you come back." I was like, "Well, that's so crazy. Like Luffy will not eat until Sanji comes back.
hmm,
Like that. We've never seen that before in the entire series. Um,
hmm,
and so that was beautiful. And then the love triangle he has with like Nami and Pudding, I like, and Pudding's reveal was great too.
hmm,
But I like really came to love Pudding's character like towards the end with her flashback and erasing Sanji's memory and helping them get out. Um, I think the anime makes it like one of the best endings in the series
Mm-hmm.
too, like you said, because like it just the music and the animation,
Yeah.
it was really good. It would be a lot higher for me if Wano didn't exist, because they brought Pound back when Pound lived, so that was one of the highs,
Oh yeah.
and then they made it a terrible moment. Um, no consequences. Nobody really got hurt. Jinbei got out. The Fishman Pirates got out.
Yeah.
The Vin Smokes had to put a little bit of an effort to get out. Also, sorry, another good moment. Luffy, Judge like ripping into Sanji, and then Luffy's like, "Yeah, no, good point, good point. That's great. I'll agree with that." One of the best Luffy moments, in my humble
Yeah.
opinion, there too.
Why is he listing
Just
all your best features?
yeah, it's so good. Love it so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jinbei giving the tea, the Big Mom,
Yeah.
a Big Mom's flashback,
Mm-hmm.
Katakuri, like there's so much good. Pedro's death, please, please, we've heard of it.
It's gonna be.
Carrot, carrot, yeah, carrot's moment, right? All this stuff, right?
Yeah.
There were like a lot of just great moments in this arc, and then it
Yeah.
would be even higher for me if Wano didn't exist. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Well, maybe not Wano, but like there were actual consequences to the ending.
no,
You
like
know.
Wano not existed. Yeah, I'm joking. Yeah, sorry, but yeah, okay, you're number 6.
uh. So, uh, I think that I. So this is an arc that a lot of people rank very highly. It's in my top 10, but I don't think that's the best of the best, which is actually uh what the war is kind of named for, but it's Marineford.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, yeah, I kind of Marineford is a lot of fighting, but at the same time, I can acknowledge like all the good stuff that's in there. But a lot of it comes at the back end of it, you know. Um, like I mean, this literally changes the whole landscape of the series.
Yeah,
I love Whitebeard as a character. Um, he's in my top 5 favorite characters in One Piece. Um,
yeah,
like his actions in this and his backstory that we get to see, like him just winning a family and everything. Um, I don't know. I really like that. I like the Doflamingo's whole speech about like the
mm-hmm.
winners are who gets to decide like the who's moral in the end. Um,
Yeah,
I think I mean we're still seeing examples of that even now. Um,
yeah.
um, like Blackbeard's whole thing with acquiring the second fruit and everything. Like we're still trying to figure out what that's all about. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Ace dying and everything. I'm not the biggest fan of Ace as a character, but I do recognize what he means to Luffy and like what his death did for Luffy's character. Um, Plus we get to see like all the admirals, like it. We get to see a lot of cool shit, you know, in Marineford.
Yeah.
The admirals, the Whitebeard pirates, the warlords. We get to see everyone. Crocodile, like this is where Crocodile became one of my favorite characters in this because of his like he's kind of playing both sides. Like
Yeah.
his whole thing when he saves Luffy is like don't let them have their way and
Mm-hmm.
everything. He's just like uh, I I um I also really like the like Luffy's whole thing um where Mihawk acknowledges that um his biggest strength is that he can rally people around him. Um
Yeah.
yeah. Also the whole thing with like Garp's character um like him refusing to really fight because he has his duty but he also has like loves Ace as part of his family.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's a lot good, but I feel like it's a lot of fighting. um
Yeah.
but uh yeah, that's Marineford for me.
So close to replying, not exactly, but
Okay,
so I would put Saboti for my next one
as number
because
5.
yeah,
Okay.
beautifully just paced, some of the best character moments in the series. Um, Luffy being crushed and going to that low point that we don't really see till like Marineford of his crew getting off to one by one.
Hmm.
Him punching Charlos, incredible. Kizaru's entrance to the story, incredible, and decimating all the supernovas
Hmm.
was, and then just like humbling Luffy, crazy. Yeah, no, there's just so many like great moments. Rayleigh, it's just one of those arcs. I can't think of one negative thing about it.
Hmm.
You know, it's just like some of the most memorable moments. And then like Kuma and Sentamaru, and obviously, I think these moments become even better. Obviously, with Egghead and everything like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, just great stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit higher for me. Uh, but yeah, I love Sabaody as an arc. Um, but my number 5, I think we're getting into the heavy hitters now, is Water 7.
Okay. Okay.
Um, so I I really like Water 7 as an arc. Um, I think the highlight for me would have to be Luffy versus Usopp. Just like the height
Mm-hmm.
the height of their like this has been building up for a while because we get to see the Mary go through a lot with
Yeah.
Skypiea and having to come to terms with like we should probably get another ship. And
Yeah.
Usopp not wanting to abandon it because means a lot to him. Like he put the most effort into fixing it and everything. Like
Yeah.
and the whole thing with Usopp being like, "Oh, so if it's not useful to you anymore, you're just gonna abandon it," and it's relating it to him. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like that the whole fight with Usopp, I think, is also really good because we get to see his strategy, like because he knows Luffy's abilities and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
the fact that, like I would say, well, no, I don't think he was close to winning, but he had like Luffy running a lot. Um, but on top of that, we get the whole like plot with trying to find Pluton from Iceberg and everything, and Robin's whole
Mm-hmm.
connection. Um, and just the whole Galley La crew, um,
Mm-hmm.
with Polly and them. I think Polly's an underrated character too. If
Yeah, he's great.
I would say if not for Frankie, I would want him on the Straw Hats. But I
Yep.
mean, aesthetic wise, he's kind of close to Sanji.
And Kaku.
Yeah,
I would have liked to have Kaku. I kind of wish Kaku was on the crew too. Yeah.
yeah.
So.
Um, but we get yeah, just a lot of good stuff with Water 7. And also including the Water 7 includes the train stuff. So which I
Yes.
think is pretty cool because we get to it's like another like infiltration part where they're like kind of outmanned. Um
Sanji is James Bond.
yeah. Uh Sanji getting like Sanji's fight with Wanze with it
Jerry.
yeah. Oh yeah. But his fight with Wanze with the ramen stuff
Yes.
with
Yeah.
that. I like that. I like Frankie's fight with Nero and everything. Um,
Yeah. No, it was great.
oh, also Frankie's flashback.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
is
Frankie had a really good flashback.
yeah. I think it's kind of like not talked about as much as some of the
Mm-hmm.
other ones, um, but yeah, I really liked it. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're number 4.
Revert.
Okay, let's see what you have to say.
Okay, yeah. So similarly, the more you're talking, the more you kind of convinced me to drop it down a little bit. It was gonna be my 3, but
Hmm.
I just think, yeah. So it is one of those arcs where I binged it like insanely quickly.
Hmm.
You know, like I just went crazy through it. The admirals are my favorite characters, like some of my favorite characters. So I love the performance. I love seeing the Whitebeard pirates. I love the warlords. I love Sengoku, Garp, Blackbeard being brought in. I love Kobe a lot as a character, so this just makes
Hmm.
sense for me. The goat Akainu coming in, right, where I think he is like the best villain in the series, and like he's just a relentless force in this whole arc, and he has no gag, which was like a first for Oda, having
Hmm.
like a villain with no gag, basically, you know. Um, I love the moment with Garp wanting to kill Akainu. I
Yeah.
love the point where, Garp punches Marco and he sits in the throne. Um, I like Kizaru just being a troll the entire time, just like kicking Luffy,
Hmm.
shooting Whitebeard. Woo! Just like that entire time, he's just like this annoying little gnat. You know, it was like cool to see Luffy get beat up by vice admirals. It's just like to see this, like he's just not ready, or like Smoker pinning him down with the jute, you
Hmm.
know, and then Boa having to save him. You know, that was great too. Seeing Jinbei, Crocodile, Doflamingo fights against Oars was like so amazing, and then
Yeah.
Kuma hitting with the Odorosa shock, like that whole part was like so sick. And then um, Blackbeard taking Whitebeard's fruit,
Hmm.
but then like Sengoku coming down and just like
No.
pounding them away. Yeah, yeah, that was so great, And then obviously, and I think Kobe's moment was just like phenomenal too.
Yeah.
And I think it looks even greater now
Yeah. I
with
mean,
what we see with Egghead.
yeah. I mean, I didn't even talk about like Shanks showing up and Luffy being rescued by
Yeah.
Law and like establishing that
Hmm.
relationship for the future and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um.
And Buggy had his moments too,
Oh
which got
yeah.
him up there. You
Hmm.
know, Kuzan had it was cool to see Kuzan as like an unrelenting force too.
Hmm.
You know, like I'm here to win this war. In a way,
Yeah.
because we got to introduce him as like a friendly guy, but now he's actually just like going out there, just like one shotting Jozu, and things like that too. And
Hmm.
um, just seeing a Akainu walk after like all the Whitebeard pirates are shooting him with all those bombs and everything, and he's just like walking like nothing even happened.
Yeah.
Like it's just great stuff. And also seeing Luffy like that in the series, it just never happens, where he's just
Yeah.
crushed, just gone after Ace's death. You
Hmm.
know, um, and also Oda killing somebody like that never happened. Same with Whitebeard.
Hmm.
Like, and you just hate Blackbeard so much after this whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Like also like I forgot to mention Whitebeard's whole like redeclaration of the pirate era. Like the One Piece does exist. Like his
And Squirtle and all that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, yeah, just some more moments are popping in my head the more we talk.
Yeah. I mean it's good. It's good, but I feel like it's backloaded a lot
Sure.
toward the end.
All right. What about you? Four.
Okay. 4. Let's see. My 4 is your number 8. It's Impel Down. I I love Impel Down. um I think that it's fun but also really serious cuz once again it's like infiltration against all odds. Luffy's going in to rescue Ace. Um
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and what going down floor by floor, like Luffy has to like create this makeshift crew with like these villains from his past and everything, like Buggy, Mr. 3, Mr. 2. Like this is where Mr. 2 became a fan favorite for everyone.
Mr. One.
Yeah, Mr. 1, Crocodile. Uh, we get to meet Ivankov and their whole gimmick and everything. Um, but I don't know. I just love the whole trek down there. Also, I think Magellan um, is is a great villain because it's not like he even has like a dislike for Luffy. He's just doing his job.
Yeah.
And he's powerful. Like he like basically one shot the Blackbeard pirates and everything. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he survived like going down to level 6 and like subduing uh, people down there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
also like Luffy's um, whole thing with him uh, almost sacrificing his arms, like he's willing to go that far, and him recovering. Um, I thought that was a great scene with
Mhm,
everyone cheering
mhm.
him on. Um, but and I like once we're like, okay, we got to where Ace was. We have to go all the way back up. And basically like doing the impossible and releasing a lot of prisoners and everything. We get to meet Jinbei in this arc, who is also one of my favorite characters.
Mhm.
Um, but um, but yeah, I think it's just a lot of fun to go through. Plus, this is like, I mean, we did get the arc before where Luffy is with Hancock and everything in Amazon Lily, but I feel like this was like Luffy's kind of on his own, and it showed that he could carry by himself,
Yeah,
and that he bounces good off of other people as a character.
yeah, for sure.
Um, but yeah, I just like Impel Down.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, your number three, top three time.
Egghead.
Okay, Egghead.
Yeah. Um, when I was reflecting on our reviews,
Mm-hmm.
I think there was maybe like two critiques I had of it, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
There's kind of like a fluffy chapter where they kind of explained everything with Vegapunk, like the plan, but didn't really even think that was negative. I just didn't really think it was like not neat. And then maybe the Kuma Bonnie flashback got ended a little abruptly. That's it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
for me. I remember every week we read and reviewed, we just called it fire,
Yeah.
and we just like loved every chapter of it, basically. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, and it was like so refreshing off of Wano. But okay, it's gonna be like bullet points here because like there's like so much, and I don't want to take too much time. But it's just Bonnie, care about her, love her as a supernova. Her
Mm-hmm.
flashback, insanely tragic, and like that ending kind of hurt it a little bit, but still phenomenally brutal, dark flashback. And yeah, I just love Kuma as a character now. Um, Kaku, Lucci, Stussy, and I loved Lucci versus Luffy. The memes were funny with Lucci versus Zoro.
Mm-hmm.
Sanji had a lot of like amazing saves in this arc too. He was great. The whole stuff with the it builds up O'Hara, it builds up Saboti, builds up Water Seven, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's like so much that goes on here. That's going on. And Kizaru's character development was just like through the roof, incredible too. He's like one of the best written admirals now, you
Yeah.
know. And um, Sentomaru, it was just great to see him back again and to see his change. And I liked honestly Vegapunk were just basically formally introduced in one arc and died in one arc,
Mm-hmm.
and super well done, just super well done. Like some of the best fights I think in the series too, you know, like very high up there.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Garp versus Kuzan, incredible. Law versus the Blackbeard was great. I didn't really like Kid versus Shanks as much, you know, but Luffy versus Kizaru was
We
okay, you know, for the most part.
we get the memes with the
Um,
kid fight. That's what we got out of it.
yeah, yes, that's what we got out of it. There were just so many like emotional, hard hitting parts too with this like whole arc, and I think like I think Frankie got like some minor good moments. I wish like Usopp and Chopper got more moments. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
think that's like one negative here, but a lot of the main cast just like was shining, and there was so much well thought. It was so organically from the story, and there was so much care he put into it, like delicately, like he just did not forget, like, and it was just like it's just so well written, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Even the little murder, like who's killing everybody right here, who's behind this plot, like what
Yeah.
like with York, that was actually like, oh, that's kind of interesting. There's a lot of cool theories popping out. So it was just an awesome arc to read week to week as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just like naturally brought us into the end game and like one of the best ways possible that stays true to the story. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I just I can't think of one week where I was like, this is an ass chapter. You
Yeah.
know, like I think it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, those are my thoughts there.
Yeah. I would say one thing I would have liked out of it is uh, having Frankie interacting a little bit more with Vegapunk.
I agree. Yeah,
Um,
I agree with that. Yeah.
but yeah, that would be like my biggest critique of the arc.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Egghead's really good. Um, but I but yeah, I think I enjoyed the other arcs a bit more than it. Like I would say like this whole top 10 list is really close in terms of like how much I enjoy them.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
but
Yeah, and I think the anime is bringing it to like a new level too.
oh yeah,
Also,
yeah for sure. Like the animation on that, like I again I complete when I was going over mine, I completely forgot about the whole Garp thing was part of this too. Garp's
yeah,
rescue
like
of Kobe, Kobe's like honesty, impact, and everything.
moments.
Yeah,
Yeah, like that made my humble opinion push it up a couple of places just for
yeah,
those like the Garp Aokaji Kobe stuff. Like that shit was peak.
yeah,
Like that was fantastic. Yeah.
yeah. So my number three is is Sad Body.
Okay.
Um, I I think like the ending of Sad Body is probably like I've seen reactions to it. Like everyone is like devastated by how it ends.
Y-
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it kind of shows like it's been building up. I think since Ennie's Lobby, like that the Straw Hats couldn't just keep getting away with the wins that they were getting. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
like they were just kind of surviving on luck. Like with Thriller Bark, Kuma just basically left him alone with Zoro taking the brunt of it. Um, Ennie's Lobby, they got out by I wouldn't say magic ship, but like the Mary rescuing them and everything, and
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
Sanjay
Yeah. Yeah.
helping. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, the defeat at the end of Sabody is such a impactful moment for the series. Um, plus you get like all the stuff with the you get Luffy's punch of the Celestial Dragon, and relating to that, like the whole slavery economy, it puts into perspective like the fishmen and everything. Um, you got the introduction of the supernova, which like Oda kind of made up, not on the fly, but like he just plopped all these characters that were still
Hmm.
like are still a focus even this late into the series. Um,
Yeah.
I love the like seeing Rayleigh, like Gold Roger's second hand and everything, or right hand
Hmm.
man. Um, and then um, one of my favorite moments with Luffy, like when Usopp is like, "Oh, so you were part of the Pirates King's crew, so you know where the One Piece is," and Luffy just yells at him to stop because that's not how he
Yeah.
wants to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I just I, plus the whole fight with the pacifista. Like I'm a sucker, like I said, with the Thriller Bark fight with oars of everyone teaming up
Hmm.
together.
Hmm.
I love that fight with the pacifista with them all teaming up.
Yeah.
And it also kind of elevates when they return, like when Luffy just one shots the pacifista. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I I think Sabody is great.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
okay,
And I do want to emphasize that point too. Like I love Sabaody so much, but I feel like it's like the perfect return to Sabaody.
mm-hmm.
It's Egghead. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of parallels that
Even
can be drawn there. Yeah.
like so many that would take too long to point out, but like,
Mm-hmm.
and like that's even more impactful than the actual return they did to Sabaody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, you do your number two first because I want to talk about my number two and one as like one. So,
Okay. Yeah. I can see that. So my
yeah.
number two is Alabasta. Um,
Dang.
yeah. I I love Alabasta. Um, I lo- I think the biggest thing for me is, I mean, this is kind of rich coming from me with the whole Marineford thing. Um, but I love the fights. I love everyone's individual fights with the individual Baroque Works members. I think that kind of set up a template that we see with like Ennie's Lobby, which I wish carried on farther into the series. Like
I agree.
we kind of got that with Wano, but I feel like some of the stuff was undercut. But yeah,
Three of them didn't get fights,
yeah, um,
or four when you think about it.
yeah. Um, but I think this is the um like the it has the most stakes so far in the series. Because the whole kingdom is at risk and everything. Um, and yeah, I think I've already said pretty much what I wanted to say earlier, but
Gotcha.
I think, but I think that it's kind of nostalgia goggles, but I still think that's it's number 2 in my heart. um, but
Oh, for sure, for
but
sure.
yeah, let's see your number 2 and number 1, because I think our number 1 might be the same.
Yeah, Water 7 for 2. 1 is Annie's Lobby. Water 7.
Mm-hmm.
So I just love it. Just I love the island.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Galley La crew. I love Kaku first introduced and later introduced as well. I thought the Cypher Pole portrayal completely caught me off guard. And this is, again, just Water 7 Annie's Lobby. It was one of those arcs that I just binged the living heck out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't stop. I just loved it. I was addicted.
Yeah.
And this made me One Piece my favorite in the series too.
Yeah.
It
I,
was these arcs.
yeah.
That did it for me.
Annie's Lobby is my number 1 too. So
Yeah. Yeah, like it made this my number 1, basically, out of any manga I've ever read, any anime I've ever seen.
mm-hmm.
Basically. It was just like seeing the crew discontent with Usopp.
Mm-hmm.
I love Usopp versus Luffy. Um Robin's flashback, terrific.
Mm-hmm.
Just seeing the Straw Hats get decimated by Cypher Pole was just so like surreal. Like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
like Zoro just got one shotted by Lucci.
Remember, Zoro's never lost though.
Never, not once. I promise I'll never lose again. But and I
Yeah.
think like, and just like Nami, seeing Nami cry at one point, where it's just like we need to get Robin back, and then like
Mm-hmm.
Usopp's just kind of doing his own thing, and you see the Going Merry get kicked over by Kaku.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of great comedic moments, a lot of mystery, and then I love Lucci's flashback. I love Frankie's flashback. I love Finn's flashback.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to see again more of the darker part of the world government, the Gorosei, more of the ancient weapons, and then yeah, I love the train, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the feeling of helplessness too that Luffy has, where Robin's gone, Usopp's gone, the ship's gone, and you're just like, wow, like everything feels out of like that moment when Luffy's like telling Usopp, well, you can leave the crew, and then the guy Sanji cuts him off and kicks him,
Mm-hmm.
and tells him to stop saying that.
Yeah.
Like, just a lot of great high dramatic points in this arc, and then like obviously the culmination is Annie's Lobby, where I think it's some of the best fights too. I know I've said that a couple of times, but
Mm-hmm.
in terms of Straw Hat fights, yeah, some of the best fights in the series for sure. I think they might.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lucci versus Luffy is the best fight still, in my humble opinion. I like the rage
Mm-hmm.
gear second final hit out of there.
Yeah.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing Lucci fly KO'd off to the Marine ship for everybody to see.
Yeah.
That yeah, Sanji. Sorry, go yeah.
I was gonna say, like, Luffy's final jet Gatling is one of my favorite moments in all of anime. It just the way that they animated it, the visceralness of it, like where it slows down and you see all the punches going in all at once. He's moving so fast. It's amazing, that whole scene.
And the moment right before where he hits him with the Rokogan is just pure silence.
Yeah.
But he doesn't fall down. He's just kind of staggering. And then Lucci's like, "Wait, what?" Like that is just perfect. Like how they did that. And so I love all that. Clearly, I mean, we can make this more of a conversation too, since you're number 1 too. But it's just like, Sanji versus Jabra, love it.
Yeah, I love all the power ups that the Straw Hats get in this arc.
Yeah,
even though I would say a lot of them aren't foreshadowed very well, but I really like it. The Chopper's whole thing with Monster Point and everything.
Thank you.
Having to deal with that.
You gotta fight.
I know, like, I think, like, I will say this about like the the time skip. I feel like Oda kind of simplifies a lot of the abilities down to like a couple. But before this, we get to see like I would say even like Chopper's fight, we see him like struggling, having to deal with the the effects of using two rumble balls. Like he can't control his
Yeah.
transformations properly, and we get to see him
Hmm.
like throw out everything that he has in his different forms. Um, and
Yeah. Really good point. Yeah.
yeah, and him having to resort to that and seeing like what he can kind of do, and everything. Yeah. Plus, I I really like just the CP0 as characters.
Yeah.
Which is um you kind of need to have that connection. In terms of like you need to connect with both sides, I feel. Which I feel like
Hmm.
Wano we didn't get as much. I know that we're comparing it a
Hmm.
lot to Wano, but I feel like Oda kind of perfected this with Eni's lobby. Um
Agreed.
and
Yeah, we had like no emotional connection to like
who's
man,
who
who's
and and
who.
Sasaki?
Yeah, Sasagi, maybe Ulti, but we kind of liked her. We weren't like emotionally like connected.
Yeah.
Like page one. Who
Yeah.
cares about page one? You know?
Yeah. I mean, both of us really like Kaku, just in terms of like
Yeah.
I love his whole thing with I love giraffes. I um also I just think that he's like generally just like a great guy in general, minus all the assassinating. But um
Yeah, like I said, one of my favorite moments is when Zoro like lays him out, and he is like one of the few times we see a villain where he's just like, I wish I wasn't like a villain because like I really liked
mhm,
being, a foreman at Galley Law. And
yeah,
he's like, that's sad. That I'm laid off right now.
yeah. Um but yeah, Sanji's fight with Diable. I think Diable Jambe is just so cool.
Yeah, yeah,
with,
yeah, it is.
with igniting his leg and everything. Um Nami got to have a decent fight um with Khalifa and everything. Um
Hmm.
and
Frankie had a brawler fight, not like a little cyborg fight,
yes,
but just like a complete, just boom, bam, bam.
yeah. Um yeah, and Fukuro with um yeah. I there's just a lot. Plus we need to touch on Robin's flashback.
Yeah,
Like so devastating, has great stuff that like we're even paying stuff off now with like Saul being alive. Um
yeah. Okaji and
yeah.
his betrayal.
Hmm. O'Hara and the mystery that's set up and everything. Like
Hmm.
it's just great.
Yeah,
um
it is. And Frankie's flashback is so underrated, like you said earlier.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's one of the less talked about ones, but like Tom's whole thing with him sacrificing.
Tom's a great,
Yeah.
great character. Same with Iceberg, great character.
Hmm. Yeah. um but also in terms of like Eni's lobby, we get the giants who are getting paid off now. um like
Yeah,
having that set up with Dorian Broggy knowing these guys, and then them befriending Usopp. Like I Usopp needs to pull through in Elbaf. He needs to have a great
and so,
character arc.
yeah. Actually, absolutely, because I really liked Usopp a lot, and also Sanji had a Mr. Prince
Oh yeah.
moment in this arc, unlike Guano, you
Yeah.
know.
We haven't even brought up Soga King.
So good game, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That was great.
Yeah. I mean we don't even really know who he is, but he's such a great character.
Yeah,
Um
no, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Luffy loved him.
But
Yeah,
I will say that one of uh another one of my favorite parts of this is when Robin's getting like dragged to the ships, and it's like once you make it past this line, you're not gonna. There's no hope for you. And right as they get to the
yeah,
line, like Usopp snipes Spandam in the face, and you see
yeah,
like everyone's like, "What's going on?" and everything, and like Robin's looking up with tears, um like she knows that it's Usopp and
yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, it's I love that scene. It's such a great thing because I mean, especially in terms of Robin, like her opening up and everything.
yeah.
Um,
It's when she officially became part of the crew.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have the tension with like Usopp's like, okay, my life from, Kaya, right? My life as before Straw Hat versus like my life as a part of the crew, and how do you deal with mutiny on the ship?
Hmm.
Like it's themes that hadn't been really gone into, and we get a little bit more with Sanji later on in Whole Cake, but it was just good to see that dynamic as a pirate crew, and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, just incredible. I like Lucci, great villain.
Yeah.
Lala Bluno, like Spandam's great as the villain he plays and
Hmm.
everything. It's
He's such a worm.
Ku, Ku, Kuza. Oh, sorry, I forgot about this. Kuzan's role, Garp's introduction.
Oh yeah. Well,
And
that's technically post Ennie's lobby
I don't care.
arc.
I'm including it. I don't give a shit. But like it's
Yeah.
like Kobe coming back, hitting Luffy, and you're just like, who the hell is this? And it's like, it's Kobe. Like, what? That's Kobe. And then Helmeppo made Zoro shit his pants. That's like, that's my headcanon. But like it's crazy. Like so a lot of great stuff.
Yeah. Um. But yeah, I think a lot. I think that as you've seen, Wano is not on either of our lists. Because I feel um, like Ennie's lobby kind of perfected the idea of what like we want going forward, and um, not even like just comparing, but like it's like, oh, Oda did this before, he's probably going to do this again.
Right,
In
right,
terms of
right,
like
right, right.
structure, like I love having like the individual fights. Is also why I have like Alabasta so high up.
Yeah,
Because you learn a lot about the characters through their fights.
yeah.
Um, and Wano, I don't think. I feel like all our conversations end up with us shitting on Wano in some way, but
Hmm.
but
Which
yeah,
is very good of us to do. Yeah.
but uh, but Ennie's lobby, I think it's just the perfection of that arc, and we didn't even mention the whole like emotional climax of the arc, which is uh
Yes,
Mary's death,
yes.
which is
Yeah.
also like so so tear jerking. Like you hear
Yeah.
the spirit of Mary like talking to them, like thank you for um taking me so far and
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I like. I know it's been said before, but name another series where you can cry at a ship being destroyed.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but yeah, I do you want to move any of your arcs? Um,
Um,
or
just that addition of Dressrosa. That's it, really. I think like
okay,
pretty much in the same place right now. Yeah,
okay. So Dressrosa is number 10.
yeah.
Um, yeah. Uh, I'm pretty much set in my stuff. Maybe Alabasta goes down, but in my heart, it's staying at number 2.
For sure.
Um, but uh, but yeah. Um, those are my final thoughts and everything.
All right, for sure. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening to us. Please like and subscribe. Leave your rankings below, and we'll see you all soon. Peace.
So yeah.